Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ringside Wrestling Entertainment. This is Joel Perez here for your WWE Greatest Royal Rumble 2018 review and results. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking everything that we've seen. I guess we're in the U.S. here, so I guess you can say this afternoon, because it did air at 12 o'clock, and this show went off the air at 5 o'clock Eastern Time. Crazy, crazy stuff when you think about it that way, but we've seen the greatest Royal Rumble to its entirety, and I can honestly tell you, we didn't see much. And what do I mean by that? Well, we're going to elaborate. Because quite frankly, this show just came across as, in production, WrestleMania Light. That's what it came across as. There was pyro up the ass all over the place. You already know the deal with that. The stage was beautiful. It was a very, very nice looking stage. But realistically, this show was nothing more than a Monday Night Raw or a Smackdown Live on a Friday. On a Friday, of course, WWE officials, they clearly came here with the design to, impress Saudi Arabia. And they weren't trying to impress us American viewers. I came into the show looking with no expectations. I came at this show looking at nothing. Because realistically, we're not the target audience here, and we need to understand that. This show, realistically, isn't even supposed to be televised. If WWE wanted to, this show didn't have to be televised whatsoever. This show didn't have to be televised. But let me tell you, it was. And surprisingly enough, this is something that I just realized, we saw no title changes here tonight. But that is besides the point. Actually, we did see one title change. Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt won the tag team titles. But again, that is besides the point, because those titles were vacant anyways. But realistically, WWE came here to impress Saudi Arabian officials, and a lot of what we've seen on tonight's show, or I guess you can say this afternoon show, that feels weird to say, is that it was lackluster. This show, if I'm looking at this from a wrestling fan sitting in America's eyes, this show was lackluster. There was realistically two things on this show. Two things that impressed me on this show, or two matches, I guess you can say. And that, of course, was AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. That was expected, and we will elaborate that. And the Cruiserweight Championship matchup, which only went like 13 minutes either way. So that was a very minor part of this otherwise 5-hour show. I was not at all impressed by the Greatest Royal Rumble. There were 50 participants in that matchup. 50! Yet only about 10 to 15 were notable names that I actually want to see in a Royal Rumble. They left out some noticeable names. Drew McIntyre, he's now on Monday Night Raw. Dolph Ziggler was in the Rumble. Where was McIntyre? Where was a Sami Zayn in the Greatest Royal Rumble? Kevin Owens was in the Rumble. Where was Sami Zayn? Instead, they chose to bring Otis Dozovich and not even his partner, they brought Tucker Knight and not Otis Dozovich of Heavy Machinery. Super random NXT selection. Why didn't you bring Pete Dunne? Why didn't you bring Tyler Bates, somebody from the UK division? That would have been a lot more impressive. For the Royal Rumble 2017 in January this year, they pulled out Adam Cole and Andrade Cien Almas as selections to enter this Rumble. This is a big downgrade because they gave us Roderick Strong, which was good, and Tucker Knight. I can't even tell. Are you kidding me? That came across as absolutely lazy. From the entrance of 1 to, I'd say, about 35, we didn't see anybody notable. I think it was the entrance of Rey Mysterio or something like that turned things around for this Rumble. The ending was pretty cool. Even then, it was anticlimactic. It came down to Big Cass and Braun Strowman. Are you kidding me? I don't even want to sit here and go through all the entries and eliminations, but I'm going to do that for you anyways, of course. I'm going to do that in a little while, just giving you my initial thoughts on this Greatest Royal Rumble. Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. What can I tell you about that match? I didn't expect anything. It was the same finisher fest and Superman punch and well, I guess you can say, German suplex affair that we've seen from them every other time. The first time they faced off, WrestleMania 31, they caught lightning in a bottle. That it wasn't going to happen again. And this is the third time we're seeing in this matchup. This matchup really blew. If we continue with this Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns scenario, I'm really going to be so tired of it. At this point, I'm tired of seeing Reigns chasing the title. Here tonight, I thought WWE was going to take the opportunity to finally just give this title to Reigns. Instead, they pulled the bullshit finish, which made Reigns look quote-unquote strong in the ending, but realistically just keeps the things the exact same way they are. Roman Reigns is chasing in this awful feud. Brock Lesnar is still keeping the title off of Monday Night Raw. And this Universal Championship run, which has done more harm to the title than good, just continues on. We're going to talk about what happened in that steel cage matchup as well, which I was not impressed by. AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura were well on their way to putting on the classic here tonight that we should have seen at WrestleMania. But instead, this matchup ended in double countout, and I absolutely am fine with that. It definitely served this purpose. I mean, as a fan, I'm disappointed, and I said this on Twitter. I'm disappointed. This was like the only tweet I made tonight because I was busy during the Rumble. But that is besides the point. I was still watching with keen eyes. I was very disappointed in the fact that it didn't get a finish because they were doing good here tonight. They were much faster than they were at WrestleMania 34, and we're going to get into that. It ended in a double count out. One of the things I want to mention, the crowd here tonight. The crowd, for what it was, surprisingly came off very well here tonight. The crowd, Saudi Arabia responded, despite most of the crowd, if you read the reports, being filled with Saudi Arabian officials, and the Saudi government gets to choose who sits in the crowd. Of course, we were in the Jeddah Sports. I'm forgetting it right now. It'll come back into my mind. But we were in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia here tonight. If I didn't mention it already, this is kind of all over the place. But I'm just giving you guys my initial thoughts until I pull up my notes and my article. But that is besides the point. The crowd came off well. I mean, those first couple rows, which were on camera, no person in that crowd was looking towards the ring. I don't think at any point in the show. I mean, there was this guy just standing there looking to the side. I think he was talking to somebody. He didn't look at the ring once. I think... I mean, ridiculous. Ridiculous. But, I mean, what are you going to do about it? Apparently, it was the Saudi Arabian royal family who was sitting in the front row. It was reserved for them. But that is besides the point. Crowd came out very, very well tonight. Of course, they reacted more when the likes of The Undertaker and John Cena and Triple H came out. Actually, the time they responded the most during this show was when the Saudi Arabian trainees who WWE, because they were having tryouts in Saudi Arabia, the WWE Saudi trainees that they chose were in the show tonight, and they actually had a pretty good moment with the the Davari brothers. There you go, and they got a big pop. Saudi Arabians very big nationalists, I guess you can say. Of course, there was a bunch of propaganda during this show. There was a whole video package displaying how Saudi Arabia is modernizing, and there's nothing against that. That was actually very, very cool to see, getting a little bit political, but that is, of course, besides the point. But it was not a good show. I'm not going to tell you it was a good show, but realistically, I'm not going to complain because I was not expecting a good show. WWE came here with a certain agenda, and if you want to talk about whether or not they completed that agenda, then you can say that this show was a success, because I say they did complete that agenda. But watching from a wrestling fan's point of view in America, in the UK, in Canada, wherever the hell you may be, even in Saudi Arabia, this is not a good wrestling show whatsoever. There were like 8 or 9 matches on this show, a Royal Rumble which went like an hour and a half, and none of it whatsoever impressed me, besides Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles, which I came into the show expecting to be impressed by, and Kalisto and Cedric Alexander. So out of this 5-hour show, 2 things impressed me. That's not a good show. That's not a good show. I'm sorry to break it to you. Am I going to be overly negative about it? No, because this, quite frankly, isn't an actual WWE pay-per-view. There were a lot of things done wrong. There's a lot of things I'm going to complain about because, quite frankly, I wouldn't come on here and be giving you the honest review, which I promised to do. I'm not giving you the honest review, of course, if I do not come on here and say that it was not a good show, because I would be lying to you if I said it was. So that's my opinion on the Greatest Royal Rumble, my initial impressions, where of course we're going to get into every single matchup in specific detail. A lot of more things happened on the show. Oh, actually, another thing that impressed me on the show, I almost forgot, the ladder match. There was a great ladder match on this show here tonight. It even got "This Is Awesome" chants from a Saudi Arabian crowd. Holy crap, I almost forgot about the ladder match. That was fantastic as well. We're going to talk about the ladder match as well. So 3 things impressed me on this show. Again, out of a show with 8 or 9 matches in an hour and a half, Royal Rumble, it's not that impressive. But we're going to talk about all that. But of course, before we do, this is what I've been building up here for the past 11 minutes that we've been running here. Of course, is just to go check out all the other content on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. Of course, there's so much other content to go check out, including Saudi Arabia Greatest Royal Rumble. Don't know why I said Saudi Arabia before that, but Greatest Royal Rumble preview and predictions, of course, up on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel earlier this week. If you want to see my mindset and my predictions coming into the show, you can, of course, check that out. I was actually correct with a lot of my predictions. I didn't do Wrestle Rumble, and I'm so disappointed that I didn't. But I predicted Braun Strowman or Daniel Bryan to win the Royal Rumble. Braun Strowman won the Royal Rumble. Shinsuke Nakamura, I believe I said, to win the WWE Championship match. Well, that had no finish. Roman Reigns, actually, that's the one thing I was wrong with. Roman Reigns did not beat Brock Lesnar, but that is besides the point. What else? I predicted Seth Rollins to retain, Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt, things like that. So I was pretty dead on. Cedric Alexander as well. So I was pretty dead on with my preview and predictions. Make sure to go check that out. If you want to see my mindset, we talk about the controversy heading onto the show, which I was laughing my ass off when they said in that video package promoting Saudi Arabia that anybody is welcome to Saudi Arabia. Well, where were the women? Where were the women? Just had to throw that little jab in there, but that is besides the point, of course. Make sure to go check out the Monday Night Raw and Smackdown reviews for earlier this week. Monday Night Raw review did very well. Make sure to go check out the Smackdown live review. We're talking about Big Cass interrupting The Miz. Miz makes his debut on SmackDown Live. Daniel Bryan's attacked. AJ Styles and the club going against Rusev Day and Nakamura. So a lot of good stuff on SmackDown Live. Make sure to go check it out. I wasn't the biggest fan of that show. Make sure to go check out my review if you want to know why. And of course, we talk Monday Night Raw. So make sure to go check that out. Behind the Mic will be returning this very Saturday. Or actually tomorrow. So make sure to await that. And the best way to await that is to subscribe to the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. Make sure to smash that subscribe button down if you enjoy what you're hearing here and you want more of this each and every single week. We're doing Backlash next week. Don't forget about that. Preview and predictions for Backlash and a review for Backlash is coming next week on top of the regularly scheduled content. So make sure to await that. Of course, make sure to like this video if you enjoy what you're hearing here. Dislike this video if you don't. I really don't care. Make sure to comment. I actually had a little scuffle in the Monday Night Raw review in the comment sections with some blithering idiot, but let me not offend him because that's crossing the line. Ridiculous question asked. I'm sorry, never ask the question, why don't you stop watching if you don't like the show? I mean, if you're truly passionate about wrestling, you're not going to stop watching the show. Clearly, I am truly passionate about wrestling. This is the answer to that question. Never ask it again, please. Because if you do not if you're not passionate about this and you don't love it, then sure, go ahead, stop watching. I have nothing against you. I think you should stop watching because the product is awful right now. But I am not going to stop watching because I love it and I am passionate about it. That is my reasoning. Don't come at me suggesting that I have no life because I'm still watching something that I love and am passionate about. But some people just don't understand it. And this person who came at me has supposedly been watching wrestling for 30 years. Yeah, if you've truly been watching wrestling for 30 years, you would kind of know that that's an absolutely idiotic question. One of the most ridiculous questions anybody in the wrestling community who is not afraid to speak their mind about the product receives, but I'm not going to go further into that. Of course, make sure to go check out all the other content. Twitter of the same name, Ringside Wrestling. I think it's R Wrestling ENT is the official Twitter handle. So, of course, make sure to go check that out. Because for now, we're going straight into your greatest Royal Rumble review and results. And we start off the show with John Cena versus Triple H. And this matchup, I mean, this was the bare minimum effort, if you ask me, from both John Cena and Triple H. They did all the typical spots that we know from them. They did the entrances, of course. There was a bunch of pyro all over the place, and that was, of course, to be expected. But my opinion on this is that they did the bare minimum they possibly could in this matchup. We saw all the spots we'd usually see from these two. But, I mean, overall, I didn't expect anything. Again, I didn't expect anything. It was a decent matchup, I can say, but it was nothing special. People were giving this matchup a 5 on 10. This matchup is a 3 on 10. Because we've seen John Cena and Triple H go much farther than this in the past. And quite frankly, it doesn't really matter what you think of this matchup, because this matchup was literally put on as an attraction matchup. And what I was mainly looking at during this matchup, and what I was listening to during this matchup, was the crowd reaction, because this was the very beginning of the show. Apparently, at least Michael Cole, by the way, Michael Cole, during this matchup, he eased over during the rest of the night, but Michael Cole sounded like a complete robot during this matchup, spilling out all this propaganda. Every single title match, he says, this title hasn't been defended overseas in over 7 years, and he'd pull out all his statistics. My God, please shoot me in the head when Michael Cole's uttering all this WWE garbage, bro. You've got to be kidding me. WWE, I'll tell you, they were kissing some real Saudi ass during this pay-per-view, but I mean, who didn't expect them to come into this pay-per-view doing that? That is besides the point, because Triple H and John Cena, they had their match here tonight, and of course, John Cena won. Actually, I was expecting maybe Triple H to win. They could have done something interesting here, continued John Cena's lost record, but of course, they're overseas. It's the start of the show. You want to start off the show on a good vibe. They were definitely over here tonight, where John Cena and Triple H, probably two of the guys who throughout the entire night who got the best reaction. Most of what I was looking at during this matchup, besides of course or listening to the crowd reaction, was also the stage. Stage was beautiful for this event as well. WrestleMania-esque, and if there's something I didn't like about this event, is that they were comparing it to WrestleMania. Nothing should be compared to WrestleMania. WWE, SummerSlam, they market it as their second biggest show of the year. They don't even go to the far extremes to present SummerSlam as a WrestleMania-esque show. Now they just get this, well, actually, I would do it too, because this deal to come to Saudi Arabia was actually reportedly $200 million. Holy crap. That is a lot of money, and that just goes to show you where the pyro's coming from. That just goes to show you where this beautiful stage is coming from for this show. But that was a whopping load of cash that Saudi Arabia is giving WWE. I'm not sure if it's throughout the 10-year stretch of this deal. It probably is. $200 million a year. Sounds absolutely crazy, but then again, you never know. You never know. I need to look into the details, but it is $200 million. I'm not sure, but this matchup was nothing to write home about. John Cena, he hit an AA on Triple H. Yeah, he hit 3 A's in this matchup, because he hit an AA, catapulted Triple H into the turnbuckle, and then he went straight into another AA. Of course, there were the near falls in this matchup. Cena hit an AA, Triple H kicked out, then Triple H hit a pedigree, and Cena kicked out. But again, they did the bare minimum, usual spots, nothing to ride home about. The crowd responded, and that's all. That's all I got to say about this. This matchup had no storyline behind it. It was literally just there in order to be an attraction. If I was WWE, I would have put some storyline behind it. I would have John Cena saying, I want to prove myself. I want to go against another big name. I want to go against another future Hall of Famer. I want to go against another legend and see if I really am that good. And maybe Triple H could have beat Cena, continued the storyline of Cena being on a lost record. I don't know, but they didn't decide to do that. John Cena wins here tonight, gets the crowd happy, and we go into the Kalisto versus Cedric Alexander WWE Cruiserweight title matchup. And this matchup, I'm very, very high on it. It wasn't anything too amazing. If they would have let it go another 5 to 10 minutes, this matchup would have turned into an absolute blockbuster of a matchup. But they definitely put on some fantastic stuff in this matchup. We saw not just a Spanish Fly, but a springboard Spanish Fly, meaning that Kalisto, he literally sat on the ropes and did like a flip backwards, which looked beautiful. And it was just an amazing spot right there. We saw in the ending, or actually before we got to the ending, Cedric Alexander went for a lumbar check. I loved how he was popped into the air was Kalisto, and Kalisto got a Hurricane Rana off of that. But the ending was Kalisto going for the Salida del Sol, and Cedric Alexander, as Kalisto's in the air moving in his motion for the Salida del Sol, catches him with the double knees, which was pretty much a lumbar check. Beautiful finish to this matchup. I was super impressed by what I seen. I mean, these cruiserweights, bro, holy crap. You showcase them like this every week on Monday Night Raw, and everybody's going to be watching 205 Live. These guys are great at what they do. The Saudi Arabia crowd didn't respond to them much. I mean, I think they were even booing Kalisto because they thought the lucha thing was annoying. But, I mean, it was a good match. It was a good match, and that has to be appreciated. I definitely did. These guys brought it here tonight, where I saw a lot of other people didn't really do that. John Cena and Triple H being a prime example of that. I didn't think John Cena and Triple H could put on a much better match, even at their ages. A much better match than what we've seen here tonight. They didn't do that. But I'm not going to complain about that too much here. We move on from the Cruiserweight Championship match. Of course, Cedric Alexander retains after hitting the Salida del Sol lumbar check counter. I like this matchup a lot. And we moved on to Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt against The Bar for the vacant Raw Tag Team titles. I mean, Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy, they had some support here tonight. I mean, they were doing the delete were the crowd in Saudi Arabia, which shocked the hell out of me. And when the lights went out, even though I hate this entrance, when the lights went out and it was time to do the little fireflies with the flashlight of the phones for Bray Wyatt, there was a damn ton full of flashlights open. Like usually you see little holes. I didn't see many black holes of people who didn't turn on their flashlights. Everybody had that crap on. And I'm not even sure. Isn't Saudi Arabia supposed to be like a third world country or something? I need to do my research. I might sound like an uneducated fool right now. But everybody has a phone there. I'm not sure about that. But this matchup, The Bar versus Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt, I sound like an uneducated American fool. But that's besides the point. I feel like this matchup did not deliver at all, bro. I mean, what The Bar and Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt can do, or as they're now being called, the Deleter of Worlds, what these two teams could do if they would have went, I guess, another 5 minutes. This matchup got like 10 minutes. Yeah, this matchup went like 10 minutes. I mean, this matchup didn't go that long at all. It was pretty much The Bar in control. The team of Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt, they got the hot tag, and they took out The Bar, and they hit their move, which doesn't look good at all, where Bray Wyatt, like, pushes the person down as the twist of fate is being applied. It doesn't look good at all, and it was over. Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt are your Raw Tag Team Champions. I didn't like that at all. And this is what I was talking about in the beginning, where, like, 3 or 4 matches only took an hour to get through. Are you kidding me? I was like, holy crap, I'm happy this show is going to be off like at 4. No, it went till 5. That Greatest Royal Rumble took a damn while. But that is besides the point. Cesaro and Sheamus do not win here tonight. They're not going back to Monday Night Raw with the Raw Tag Team titles. Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy win the Raw Tag Team Championships. And quite frankly, the way these two have been going so far, I don't even know how to feel about that. I mean, their entrance looks terrible. This matchup here tonight, which was supposed to be like at least a good matchup, didn't impress that much. So as far as what they're doing in the ring, Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt are not impressing me. I love the elite stuff. I love that it's being pushed and that you're putting a title behind Matt Hardy. But, I mean, not the most impressive outing here tonight. I don't know. I do not know. We move on to Jeff Hardy versus Jinder Mahal. And the most notable thing about this matchup was that botch, bro. Holy crap. Jeff Hardy went for Whisper in the Wind, and Jinder Mahal was nowhere to be found. It did not hit whatsoever, and Jinder Mahal still fell. He still fell back as if he was hit by the goddamn move. You've got to be kidding me. Then you're wondering why everybody gives Jinder Mahal so much shit about being good in the ring. I was actually turning around a little bit on Jinder Mahal being good in the ring. I was like, Jinder Mahal's gotten a lot better. I was saying that on my Monday Night Raw review. I was praising Jinder Mahal for getting better. And the same thing, I think, on my Smackdown Live review as well. But, I mean, after this, I gotta shut the hell up. Looks like I jinxed Jinder. He was actually going on a good streak of good matches. One with Jeff Hardy, another with Chad Gable last week. Here tonight, they kind of ruined that. Another thing to note, and this is just something that I've just been so dumbfounded by myself, is why is Jeff Hardy such a good babyface? I just keep wondering what makes him so magnetic that I just want to cheer him. When I see Jeff Hardy, it puts a smile on my face. I want to do the motions that he does in his entrance. What makes him such a great babyface? I just want to know what's the secret to Jeff Hardy being such a great babyface. Because he doesn't do anything special. And I've said this in the last couple of videos. Jeff Hardy, realistically, he's not great with the promos. Only thing that he really does that's just great is the high-flying stuff. And that's not even what gets me about Jeff Hardy. I don't know. He's just a magnetic babyface. So natural. This is a guy that you just like. When it comes to Daniel Bryan, you see, I can tell you exactly what makes Daniel Bryan such a great babyface. He's sympathetic. He's the underdog. I can get behind that. But Jeff Hardy, it's like, what's so great about this guy? I can't point it out. Can somebody, please, at least in the comment section, tell me, what's so great about Jeff Hardy? What does he do so right? Because I cannot pinpoint it. But moving on from that, I mean, once again, this was another matchup that went 10 minutes. It went 10 minutes. Then again, many people seeing Jinder Mahal for that long in the ring, I mean, I don't think anybody would have been very impressed by that. But Jinder Mahal, he got booed here tonight in Saudi Arabia, surprisingly enough. Isn't he supposed to be the Eastern representative, the Middle Eastern representative? Saudi Arabia's in the Middle East. What's going on here? Jinder Mahal got booed anyways. Jeff Hardy got a nice reaction. And he retains the United States Championship. Twist of Fate, Swanton Bomb combination. Pretty much what we seen on Monday Night Raw when Jeff Hardy won the United States Championship from Jinder Mahal. Except that I would say that the crowd was a lot more electric for Jeff Hardy. But that is, of course, besides the point. We go to the Hall of Fame pre-show kickoff panel, which was recapping what we had already seen on the show to this point. Jerry Lawler, Jim Ross, and of course Booker T. I love seeing Jim Ross on the Hall of Fame panel. I'm a big fan of Jim Ross. Jerry Lawler's hilarious on the panel. Booker T, always out of it, and of course always making me laugh. But they were going through things. They took us to an amazing backstage segment with Chris Jericho. I enjoyed the hell out of this. He was putting people on the list. Only thing I didn't enjoy is that the best thing about the list is that after it became something that's awesome, you would hear the crowd reaction, and when he pulls up the list like he did here tonight, it gets a huge reaction, it gets a huge pop. I don't think WWE was showing the Saudi Arabian fans the video. I think they were doing some other crap during. I mean, I think they might have been singing Saudi Arabian national anthem in the in-between, praying in the in-between. I'm not sure, but they were not showing, at least I think, either that or they just weren't reacting to it because they didn't know what the hell was going on. It's probably the latter, or it could be the former, 50-50, I don't know. But when Jericho pulled up the list, Nobody reacted. When Jericho said, "You just made the list," nobody reacted. And the best part of pulling up the list and "You just made the list, you just made the list, you just made the list" is the reaction. That's one of the best parts. But this interview was hilarious. Besides the point, my reaction was enough to sell myself, as egotistical as that sounds, bro. He was calling Mike Rome Tom, and he was like, Tom is the guy with the fake hair, or Mike is the guy with the fake hair. He's the one with the toupee. He's the one with the fake beard. And I was laughing my ass off. We haven't seen one of these promos probably since like late 2016 or early 2017. I don't know, whatever the time frame is. Actually, mid 2017, because wasn't Jericho taken off TV like in July or something like that? Don't ask me, because I I have no clue. But we haven't seen one of these promos in a while, is my point. And seeing one brings back some nice memories. But we go to, I believe, a Daniel Bryan interview. But yeah, he was backstage with Daniel Bryan, and Daniel Bryan, basic promo, nothing too amazing. And that took us into the Usos versus the Bludgeon Brothers. And this matchup wasn't anything, again, too amazing. Went like, I'm not sure, like 8 minutes. And again, you expected it to be a squash because that's what's been going on with the Usos and the Bludgeon Brothers. Now, the Usos got quite a bit of offense in this matchup. They hit their super kicks. They hit the frog splash. They surprisingly got more offense here than they did at WrestleMania 34 when a whole other team in the New Day was involved, so it should have been easier for them. But that just goes to show you that WWE is absolutely ridiculous because, of course, the Usos and the New Day and the Bludgeon Brothers at WrestleMania, they were cut off on time. If that was not clear now, more than ever, then I don't know what is going to make it clear to you people. That matchup went 5 minutes. That was clearly the matchup that they said, all right, you're going to be on the main show, but you're going to be cut in time. And that was shown more than ever here tonight because they got longer in this match where you would expect it to be a squash than they did at WrestleMania where you would expect it to be more offense from both teams working together. But the Usos lost once again here tonight. I thought the ending was very anticlimactic to this matchup here, but realistically, what am I supposed to tell you? Same thing with the ending to the Jeff Hardy Jinder Mahal match. And while we're at it, to the Matt Hardy Bray Wyatt the Bar match, probably the Raw Tag Team Championship match between the Bar and the Deleter of Worlds. That ending was so anticlimactic. Like they took forever. Like Sister Abigail, Bray Wyatt hit a Sister Abigail, just to go into more detail about what that ending was. And then they did a whole wonderful and he was doing the kicks in the corner where he's like warming up to do the spider walk, and they took super long, and then instead of Cesaro coming in, they just hit the move on Sheamus, and 1, 2, 3, it was over. So many anticlimactic endings really taken away from the drift of these matches. Same thing with Jeff Hardy, Jinder Mahal. You just hit Twist of Fate, Swanton Bomb, same thing we've seen before, and he won. That was another case here tonight because the Bludgeon Brothers cleared the Usos, and then they hit a double power bomb, and it was over. So I'm waiting to see a proper matchup that we know these two teams could put on between the Usos and the Bludgeon Brothers. At this point, the Usos have lost twice. They lost their rematch, so I don't think that's going to happen. But, I mean, realistically, I know that these teams could have done much, much better. And quite frankly, they were not allowed to, and that kind of sucks. That doesn't kind of suck. It really sucks. But from here, we actually moved on to something of note, and I was scared at this point because we've been through 5 matches, and WWE has not given any of them their proper time. Thankfully, that was not the case with Samoa Joe versus Finn Balor versus The Miz versus Seth Rollins in a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. This matchup came across very, very well. Everybody got their time to shine. It was a great ladder match. Now, does it compare to what we've seen at NXT TakeOver New Orleans for the North American Championship between Adam Cole, Velveteen Dream, Lars Sullivan, Killian Dane, EC3, and I'm forgetting a name. Damn it. I can't. Leave it in the comment section below. Who's the name? Damn, I'm so pissed. I almost had it. Did I say Adam Cole? Is that the name? I'm not even sure. I said, damn. I'm not remembering. I'm drawing a blank. Ricochet, there you go. There you go. I got it. Either way, does it compare to the matchup for the North American Championship we've seen at New Orleans? No, it does not. Nothing that we've seen as of late, as far as a ladder match goes in WWE, compares to that, where there was a lot of sleeping on the outside. You already know the deal. But that doesn't avoid the fact that we saw a lot of great spots here. We saw a lot of great spots in this matchup. Samoa Joe got his time to shine. He power slammed Balor on a ladder at one point. Just a lot of great stuff. A lot of great stuff. The Miz and Finn and Samoa Joe, they worked together to tip over somebody's ladder at one point, and then the Miz was like, yeah, let's work together, because they were the only two in the ring instead of getting attacked, of course, and Samoa just said, fuck you, and he jabbed at the Miz. The Miz, there was a great point where he was hitting a lot of offense, bro. He hit the neck breaker, the knee and the neck breaker combination. Then Seth Rollins came and he hit the the kick and then the DDT, and it was just a great combination there. Finn Balor tied into the ending a lot. He got, of course, his move of momentum that he always gets. He climbs the ladder, and the ending, this was a great ending. Compared to every other matchup we've seen, this was the best ending of the night, no doubt about it, because this is actually genuine and something that we've never seen happen before in a ladder match, and that, quite frankly, why doesn't this happen more often? Because this was a really cool ending. It was Finn Balor on the ladder, Seth Rollins, I don't know from where, jumps onto the ladder, hangs onto it like Spider-Man, climbs up, and he grabs the title. It slips off, and he slips off with it, as it was in the grasps of Finn Balor. So Finn Balor's on the ladder with Seth Rollins, but Seth Rollins just pulled the title off instead of punching Finn Balor, doing what they would normally do, and it refrained from having that slow climb up to the ladder, and it came across as something quick, it came across as something genuine, and I absolutely enjoyed it. Seth Rollins retains the Intercontinental Championship. Very, very good ladder match here tonight. Again, does not compare to what we've seen at NXT TakeOver New Orleans, but for what I was expecting at Saudi Arabia, they did some good stuff. And this was one of those matches which, again, had no storyline build or continuation. This was just put there out of the blue because we need matches for the Greatest Royal Rumble. And we saw a match at the Greatest Royal Rumble, and it delivered. It delivered, to say the least. I enjoyed the hell out of this matchup. Intercontinental Championship ladder match here tonight on the Greatest Royal Rumble. From there, we moved on to, I believe, a video package, the WWE tryouts held in Saudi Arabia. Here it is, the segment of that. It was the WWE tryouts. They were in the ring with Mike Rome. He introduced all of them, or not Mike Rome. I think it might. I'm not sure who the hell they were in the ring with. Does it say here? I'm not gonna try to look for it. But they were being interviewed in the ring with, it was Mike Rome. And it was Nassar, Hussein, Mansoor, and Thisal. They got big pops from the crowd, and two of them cut brief promos, which were actually pretty good. And the music of Arya Davari and Sean Davari, who, they're brothers, of course, both of their musics played, and they came out representing Arabia, and they were carrying the Iranian flag, and most of the fans were booing the hell out of them. They got some serious heel heat on this goddamn show. And Arya took the mic. He run down every prospect. He was shitting all over them, and they hit some moves on them. Arya gets hit in the face of Mansoor and shoves him. Mansoor drops him with a push. Fizal drops Sean with a kick. Hussein with a big slam to Sean next. And Nassar grabs Sean and tosses him out of the ring. They actually look pretty good in this segment. And they got a great reaction, which, again, it's the reaction of the crowd that makes these shows. It's a big part of the show. It's a big proponent. And they reacted. They reacted, to say the least. But that was just a nice segment right there. Because, of course, we are in Saudi Arabia. You want to push that agenda. But we moved on here to probably my favorite part of the show, Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles. They worked the pace that they should have been working at WrestleMania. WrestleMania was very slow. It was methodical. It was big move. All right, let's get rolling. And then they just sleep for like 2 minutes. Oh my God, what the hell? This is Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles. What's the deal here? Here tonight, that was not the case. They got rolling. It was quick. It was fierce. Nakamura got nasty, bro. He got nasty some of these shots, bro. He did manage to hit a low blow on AJ Styles here today. The referee, AJ Styles, was about to hit the Styles Clash, the phenomenal forearm on Shinsuke Nakamura. He stepped out of the way. AJ almost went into the referee, and Nakamura hit the low blow. We thought he was getting ready for the, he got a super near fall. That's what happened, bro. I'm just recalling this in my mind. Super near fall, bro. I thought it was over off a low blow. But AJ, he grabbed the rope. Nakamura got a big boo reaction. The crowd was actually chanting AJ Styles at one point, surprisingly enough. And in the ladder match, I almost forgot to mention this, they were chanting, "This is awesome." And I'd agree with them. The ladder match was awesome. But that is besides the point. It was Nakamura. He was charging up for the Kinshasa. AJ reversed it into a near fall of his own, a pinfall. We saw no finishes in this matchup because when things escalated to the outside, AJ tackled Nakamura over the announce table. It got physical, and I was like, damn, this is turning into a great matchup. But Michael Cole quickly wanted to put notice to the fact, excuse my stuttering here, I'm trying to recall this from my mind here, but Michael Cole took notice of the fact, the referee's at a count of 7. He's at a count of 7. This match might be over. And oddly enough, it was over. But you know what? I'm absolutely fine with this. One, because AJ Styles, when he was attacking Shinsuke Nakamura, showed a lot of aggression. And I loved that aggression that AJ Styles shown in this matchup. The Nakamura heel turn, and this is something I noticed exactly when I saw this aggression of AJ Styles attacking Nakamura and pretty much getting payback for what Nakamura did to him at WrestleMania 34. But I noticed that the Nakamura heel turn has really given this feud the edge that it needs. We could have seen this matchup go down the way it should have at WrestleMania 34, and it could have been this classic, and Nakamura could have won the title, and we don't see it again until years to come. But I think we actually might have gotten, unknowingly, the better result of the two things that could have happened. I mean, the matchup wasn't anything great, and it would have been great if Nakamura would have lost a great matchup, and then he turns heel, and we see more of that. But it's building that every time we see this matchup, we're building like they kind of did with AJ Styles and Kevin Owens back in the summer of 17, where every single matchup built and built and built, and they didn't put everything, but when you got to that final match, everything was put into it, and you got something great. That's what we got at SummerSlam 17, which was the best matchup of all the matchups that they had. Same thing with Nakamura and AJ, I believe, is going to happen, except this is going to result, of course, in a very, very great classic matchup. Hopefully it could go to a 5-star classic. Hopefully that's the case that we have here, because we definitely have the storyline pushing that now. After Nakamura's turned heel, it gives you that perfect story where Nakamura's just turned into this nasty human being, and AJ Styles isn't going to take that. He's going to put in the same aggression that Nakamura is putting into him, and that's exactly what we saw here tonight. AJ Styles, after this match, attacked the hell out of Nakamura. Phenomenal forearm to Nakamura all the way to the outside. I enjoyed the hell out of it. This matchup was very, very good for what it gave us while it was actually happening, and for what we saw in as an entirety, as a presentation to continue and forward this feud, I'd say this was great. This was great. Not as a matchup, but as a complete segment. And what this does for the feud, I thought this was very, very great. Hopefully they don't just say, okay, the rematch is happening at Backlash. Hopefully they push it off and continue this feud. Quite frankly, I want to see the climax of this feud at SummerSlam. These guys could feud at this point for the rest of the year, and I would be absolutely fine with that. I came into this match nervous that they were going to give us the same, realistically, rubbish that they gave us last time at WrestleMania 34, which didn't live up to expectations. They did not come in here tonight. And honestly, another reason I was worried is because they were in Saudi Arabia, and a lot of other people phoned it in. I'd say that Matt Hardy, Bray Wyatt, and The Bar, they kind of phoned it in. I don't want to say that, but it came across as that. or they didn't get enough time. But Nakamura and AJ, I say they were given enough time for what it was, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. Great stuff. From there, we went to Rusev and The Undertaker in a casket match. Surprisingly enough, this matchup went down, and there was nothing else to it. I mean, The Undertaker, very slow, very methodical. He looked great. He looked great. And I felt the presence of The Undertaker. Everybody was going crazy. Oh, this is The Undertaker of old. This is The Undertaker of old. This is The Undertaker we've been missing. I felt that more here tonight than I did at WrestleMania 34 when everybody was proclaiming that. I paid more attention to the entrance. At WrestleMania 34, I honestly tell you, I was mad. I was just like all over the place. I was realistically not in the best mood. Here tonight, I got to take The Undertaker in. And this was a good match. I mean, Rusev looked legitimate simply because of the fact, one, because he was in there with The Undertaker, and now he could say that he was in there with The Undertaker longer than John Cena was able to be there in The Undertaker. So I think it boded well for Rusev that he was in there after the Undertaker John Cena matchup, where John Cena was absolutely destroyed. So Rusev was able to withstand more than John Cena, I guess you can say. He got a decent fair share of offense. Realistically, nothing we don't see from Rusev on the regular. The big kick, roundhouse kick. We didn't see this. And I absolutely love Rusev's big super kick. We didn't see that, but we did see a accolade. We saw a spinning heel kick. But it was slow, it was methodical. Aiden English got involved. He took a chokeslam and a tombstone. And I really didn't like the ending. Rusev took that chokeslam, rolled into the casket, and waited there for a million years until Aiden English was also shoved into the casket. And this was nothing. This was nothing. I mean, it's good for Rusev. He was in there with the big star, whatever. But realistically, the matchup wasn't anything too impressive. And realistically, at this age, The Undertaker isn't going to be giving you anything too impressive. It is kind of depressing to say, but that just seems to be the situation this time around. The Undertaker wins the matchup here. I don't see The Undertaker losing. People were speculating, and I think the matchup would have been a lot better, and I'd come on here with a much more excited tune if The Undertaker, like people were speculating, if John Cena would have came in and cost The Undertaker this matchup building towards SummerSlam. That would have been great. That would have been great, but that was not the case. Rusev did not get the win here tonight, and The Undertaker won clean. So there's nothing to say about that. I mean, I don't really care. This matchup, once again, just like Triple H and John Cena, was here for attraction and attraction alone. And I guess if you're looking at it, again, in that standpoint where WWE is coming here to impress Saudi Arabia, I guess you can say it delivered. We go to Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship inside of a steel cage. There's not much to say about this matchup at all. It was the same crap we seen at WrestleMania 34, inside a cage, and clearly the Saudi Arabia audience did not boo this matchup here tonight. They were much more either I don't care about this matchup or whatever. What's even in the ring right now? Who cares? So that was pretty much Saudi Arabia's perspective on what we've seen here tonight. Nothing amazing in this matchup by any means. You can already tell that we saw a bunch of F5s. We saw a bunch of spears. But realistically, nothing else. Nothing else until the ending where, of course, Roman Reigns speared Brock Lesnar through the cage. That was a cool visual. I'll give them that. But besides that, there was nothing else in the matchup besides everything that we usually see in a steel cage. Oh, he's climbing out of the cage. Oh, he's pulled back in by the vest. Oh, he's trying to go through the door. Oh, the manager closes the door, or somebody closes the door in his face. Oh my God, he didn't get out through the door. Near fall, kicks out. I mean, nothing we haven't seen before. The ending was the only thing different. And even then it wasn't that impressive because it wasn't the right ending. At this point, you should just give up. Give Roman Reigns the title. Who cares? Nobody is going to be satisfied when Roman Reigns finally gets the Universal title after months and months and months of build. Nobody's going to be satisfied. So just end it. Just cut it out so we can begin the road to recovery. That's my logic. I'm tired of seeing the title off of Monday Night Raw. At least If Roman Reigns holds the Universal title, there's something to fight for on Monday Night Raw. If Brock Lesnar's holding it, that's not the case. That's not the case. And unfortunately, that will continue to be the case because the finish here was that Roman Reigns speared Brock Lesnar through the cage, and the side of the cage collapsed, and Brock Lesnar's floor hit the feet first because, of course, he was on the receiving end, and he fell out first. So, Roman Reigns looks strong, blah, 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 and that's it. That's it. Who cares? I don't. You probably don't. Let's move on here to, of course, what was the main event of the evening, and that was the 50-man Royal Rumble matchup. And this is going to be daunting to go over. I'm just going to give you guys a quick recap here. I mean, there was like 10 notable entrants, and I'm going to tell you guys who that is. But of course, before I do, I want to give you guys my general thoughts on the matchup. I thought this matchup was abysmal. This is one of probably the worst Royal Rumbles that you can possibly find out there. I would call this the worst Royal Rumble, not the greatest Royal Rumble. I mean, there were like 40 or 35 very unnotable entrants in this matchup. This went on forever. There was just a bunch of filler in this matchup. I mean, we were watching a lot of garbage, to say the least. We were watching a lot of garbage. And, I mean, I didn't care for the matchup at all. I didn't care for the matchup at all. As far as who was in it, I mean, they didn't even try to impress us with this. They didn't even try to impress us with this, in my opinion, because even the last entrant, the 50th man, was Chris Jericho. It was Chris Jericho. So, if Chris Jericho is somebody who's already announced, it's not a surprise. It is not a surprise. We already knew. Chris Jericho even cut a promo early in the night. So, what are you realistically achieving here? Nothing. So that was my thought on that. Not the matchup didn't even come across as very well. But here was every single entrant in this matchup. It was, and this is in no particular order, Daniel Bryan, Braun Strowman, Kurt Angle, Shane McMahon, Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio, Mark Henry, The Great Khali, Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho, Big E, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, Elias, Goldust, Baron Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, Apollo Crews, Titus O'Neil, Sin Cara, Bobby Roode, Shelton Benjamin, Mojo Rawley. Those were the people who were previously announced. And here were the other people who entered. WWE really made it very, very interesting, didn't they? Curtis Axel, Mike Kanellis, Victor, Tony Nese, Dash Wilder, Primo, Bo Dallas, Scott Dawson, Connor, Luke Gallows, Rhino, Drew Gulak, Fandango, Chad Gable, Tyler Breeze, Carl Anderson, Heath Slater, Ty Dillinger, Kurt Hawkins, Bobby Lashley, and Big Cass. Everybody who I just named to you there, besides probably maybe Big Cass and Bobby Lashley, is being positioned as a jobber on WWE television. And those were the people who made up this Royal Rumble. Either way, Hiroki Sumi, I did not know who the hell that was, and WWE did an awful job at explaining who that was. That was a surprise entrant. He was a very big man, looks like a sumo wrestler. He went face-to-face with Mark Henry in this matchup. I was not impressed, eliminated very, very soon. Hornswoggle, I'm not even going to talk about that ridiculousness. Like I said earlier, Tucker Knight, I mean, really, that's who you choose from NXT? Roderick Strong, I loved Roderick Strong in this matchup. I love that choice. Babatunde, what? And Dan Matha from NXT, who we've barely seen it whatsoever. So those were the entrants here. In order, Daniel Bryan was number one. And Daniel Bryan set a new record here tonight. So Daniel Bryan had a very, very impressive showing, and I was very disappointed. He was like in here for like an hour and 16 minutes. WWE did right by Daniel Bryan in this matchup. Now, I thought they were going to give it to him. They did not decide to do that, but this was a very, very good match. Or not a very good match, a very good showing for Daniel Bryan, and he was eliminated, and I like the storyline that they played upon here, by Big Cass. I love how they did that, but after an hour and 16 minutes, Daniel Bryan was eliminated. Number 2 was Dolph Ziggler. Who cares? Where was Drew McIntyre? Number 3 was Sin Cara. Who cares? 4, Curtis Axel. Who cares? Mark Henry, nice to see ya. He was at number 5. Mike Kanellis. I think this was a new record. WWE, they were asking, was this a new record for the fastest elimination? Mark Henry eliminated Mike Kanellis within seconds. You got to be kidding me. Hiroki Sumi eliminated by Mark Henry. That was number 7. 8, Victor. 9, Kingston, and his little moment in this matchup where he stayed inside. I think if there even was one, this was the closest it came. Xavier Woods. Kofi Kingston was on the back, hanging on the back, on the apron of Xavier Woods for most of this matchup. If you want to count that as being all right, this guy he was saved. I don't know that this was a great Royal Rumble moment. Who cares? But I think these are getting less and less creative as we go on with these Royal Rumbles. Number 10, Tony Nese. 205 Live, nice to see you. 11, Dash Wilder, part of the tag team. Who cares? 12, Hornswoggle. Who cares? 13, Primo. They're still employed. Who cares? 14, Xavier Woods. Who cares? 15, Bo Dallas. Who cares? 16, Kurt Angle. Okay, decent. He had a nice showing in this matchup. 17, Scott Dawson. Who cares? 18, Goldust. Who cares? 19, Connor. Who cares? Elias had a very, very nice showing in this matchup. He is actually notable. 21, Luke Gallows. Who cares? 22, Rhino. Who cares? 23, Drew Gulak. Who cares? 24, Tucker Knight, out of all people. Who cares? 25, Bobby Roode. Babyface Bobby Roode. Who cares? 26, Fandango. Who cares? 27, Chad Gable. Alright, decent. 28, Rey Mysterio. This is where things picked up. 29, Mojo Rawley. Oh God, who cares? 30, Tyler Breeze. Who cares? 31, Big E. Who cares? 32, Carl Anderson. Who cares? 33, Apollo Crews. Who cares? 34, interesting, Roderick Strong. 35, interesting, Randy Orton. 36, Heath Slater. Who cares? 37, Babatunde. Who? 38, Baron Corbin. Alright. 39, Titus O'Neil. Oh God. It seems like they were serving alcohol in catering here tonight, because Titus O'Neil had one of the most hilarious and meme-worthy moments in this Royal Rumble. He made history here tonight because this guy gave us years of meme material. He came running to the ring and he was going to slide in the ring, and he slipped and he went all the way under the ring. Absolutely one of the most hilarious things I have ever seen. Oh, that was the best part of this Royal Rumble. That was the best part of this Royal Rumble. 40, Dan Matha. Who? 41, Braun Strowman. Awesome. 42, Ty Dillinger. He hasn't been on TV for months. Who cares? 43, Kurt Hawkins. Who cares? 44, Bobby Lashley. Stale as all hell. Who cares? 45, The Great Khali. He was eliminated by Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman within minutes. Who cares? 46, Kevin Owens. He had a nice showing with Chris Jericho here tonight. 47, Shane McMahon. A great elimination of Shane McMahon. Fantastic. He was thrown, I believe, by Braun Strowman, and he was launched into the announce table. That was a beautiful spot. One of the most notable things about this Royal Rumble right there. Besides, of course, Titus O'Neil. 49, 48, Shelton Benjamin, didn't do much. 49, Big Cass, and 50, which I was disappointed by, like I mentioned, Chris Jericho. And that was the Royal Rumble. There was nothing much besides that. That's it. That's it. It was won by Braun Strowman. I'm not sure what this was, but he was presented a trophy and a hideous green Saudi Arabian championship. I don't know if that's going to be an official title for WWE. I hope not, because they have way too many titles, but Braun Strowman wins the greatest Royal Rumble. I predicted that. That's great for Braun Strowman. What a great win. But what does this mean? What does this win him? Hopefully it wins him a Universal title shot. That's what I want to see. If Braun Strowman beat Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship, I would love to see that. But overall, what was the greatest Royal Rumble? Nothing special at all. This Royal Rumble, lazily booked, and everything else, nothing amazing. Nothing amazing. But that's going to be all for now. We're running out of time here. So that is your greatest Royal Rumble review. I hope you enjoyed each and every single thing that you heard here from the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. Braun Strowman wins the greatest Royal Rumble. Tell me if you agree with that. I certainly do. Big win for Braun Strowman here tonight. Of course, make sure to comment on everything else in the comment section below if you enjoyed this show or not. Because, of course, for now, this is going to be all for the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. Make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to subscribe. Because for now, this has been Joel Perez, and I am out of here. Thank you very, very much for watching this video. I'll see you next time right here on Ringside Wrestling.